start with Chelsea, though.
I hate Mauricio Pochettino.
The village idiot American owner.
They spent £1 billion.
Well, we like a crisis title.
What are Chelsea doing?
Ahoy there! Today we'll be spending some time examining what on earth is going on at Chelsea Football Club. But first, as ever, a quick recap. Chelsea were bought by Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich in 2003 and went from a very mediocre club to an extremely high-performing, successful, trophy-generating machine in an alarmingly short space of time. But it wasn't without collateral damage. They burned through managers and players, spent insane amounts of money, and generally operated in a fairly chaotic way most of the time. But they won trophies. Premier Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups, Champions League, World Club Trophy or whatever it's called, they won it all. Then the Russia and Ukraine war happened and poor Roman Abramovich got cancelled and was forced to sell the club in 2022.
Well, the latest move by the UK government is to sanction the owner of Chelsea Football Club, Roman Abramovich.
A private equity firm called Clear Lake Capital bought Chelsea, and the man who took the public role of running them was Todd Boehly, owner of the popular American baseball team, the LA Dodgers. The sale went through for over £4 billion, and since then this portly Todd Boehly fellow has overseen transfer spend exceeding £1 billion. Let's pause there for a second and really digest that statement. In the space of well under 2 years, they've spent over £1 billion on new players. And what do they have to show for that? A team is measured on its performance, right? So let's take a quick look at their Premier League position at the date this video is published. Wow. And they're not even in Europe either. What the hell happened? How did they go from this to this? But what do their fans think of them? Are they sympathetic to the underlying issues in terms of the ownership change and forced chaos because of the war in Ukraine? Or the shiny new manager this season, Pochettino, not looking like any sort of improvement over last season's Graham Potter? Let's check the pulse of the Chelsea fanbase right now. So to return to the question that sparked this video, what the hell happened? How did they collapse so spectacularly, so quickly? The simple answer is stupidity. Or perhaps arrogance too. Stupidity and arrogance coming from Todd Boehly and whoever else is involved in the player recruitment process at Chelsea. They have spent unholy amounts of money with wild, reckless abandon and demonstrated a clear lack of even a medium-term strategy, let alone a long-term one. Todd Boehly and his band of late middle-aged cronies have inserted themselves into a sport that they seemingly have no deep understanding of and attempted to conduct a hostile takeover, and it's failed badly. Don't get us wrong, they've purchased some objectively very good players. Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, elite players proven internationally highly regarded, but they've also wasted huge amounts of money on hyped players that clearly weren't ready for a big move to a high-profile club while simultaneously being burdened with an obscene price tag that doesn't reflect reality. Marc Cucurella for £63 million, Wesley Fofana for £70 million, Mykhailo Mudryk for £85 million. The turnover of playing staff has been ridiculous, the team is unrecognisable from just a couple seasons ago, and anyone with half a brain in football knows that you can't build team cohesion at a high level with this revolving door of constant change. And if you're thinking, well, Chelsea did it before with Abramovich, they spent like lunatics and won, why isn't it working for them now? A cursory look back in history shows that the super successful winning Chelsea teams between 2004 and 2016 had a solid foundation to them of world-class players. Think Petr Cech, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, a rock-solid spine to the team, players that stayed with the club for 5+ seasons, and a winning culture bred by good managerial choices and a core of consistent leaders on the pitch. Cut to today's anarchy and they have none of this. They've got Thiago Silva at the back who's been there for a while, but just like Susan Sarandon, his skills are fading with age. And Conor Gallagher in midfield came up from the youth academy and is killing it this year, but it seems like he'll probably leave in the summer. They're just wildly inconsistent. They win a few games, play well, and then lose a few games, and no real progress is being made or any sort of momentum being built. And players that arrive to huge fanfare and big price tags are destroying their reputation week by week. Caicedo does not look like the player he was at Brighton, and there's been plenty of rumours that Enzo Fernandez wants out already, despite his 8-year contract. Their deluded owner, Todd Boehly, is trying to build for long-term success by buying every highly rated young player in the world and giving them 8-year deals. But sometimes you get the impression that his process is this. He sees a player trending on Twitter, searches him on YouTube, watches a best skills compilation video where they show a series of poorly edited clips set to Eurotrash music, and then he instructs his recruitment team to go out and buy the player. They're stockpiling all these young stars for the future, but neglecting that the first team needs experience and guidance right now, because they're in the Premier League, the hardest league in the world, and they aren't the only team now in the league with a little bit of walking around money like they used to be. Now there's many teams owned by nation states. So how can they turn it around? That's the billion-pound question. Unfortunately for Chelsea fans, there's no quick fix here. It's going to take time. Whether that's a case of months, years, or decades is entirely up to the owners. Will they stick with Pochettino and trust that he'll come good? Or will they roll the dice again and try and tap up someone new like Xabi Alonso, De Zerbi, Zidane, or even Xavi? Hansi Flick is on the market too. There's options out there. Will they be a little smarter in their recruitment of players and try to cultivate some actual team cohesion? Our bet here at the Score FC is they won't sort this mess out anytime soon. We don't think they've hit rock bottom just yet. They'll probably fire Pochettino after a couple more terrible results in March or April, bring in a new overhyped manager motivated by the huge paycheck on offer, try and buy the very best players available and wildly overpay for them, rinse and repeat for the next few seasons. No clear style of play will be developed, no smart long-term strategy will be implemented, and the fan mutiny will rise to the point where fans will start staging live-streamed hunger strikes on YouTube en masse in a last desperate attempt for their beloved football club to sort their shit out and start behaving like adults. Hopefully these poor fans don't starve to death. The last time one of our unpaid interns went on a hunger strike due to their excessive working hours, we unfortunately didn't notice he was doing it until he was just moments from death. But we gave him a cracker and a couple apple slices and he seemed to regain consciousness, and of course we sent him straight back to work, so it was a happy ending for all involved. That's all for this week, Score FC viewers, and if you're an obsessive Chelsea fan who relies on your beloved football team for happiness, if you haven't already, it might be a good time to seek out a therapist.